Airsoft Team Kilo23.
Hey guys, I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo23. About 3 months ago, I was able to get my hands on an ICS M4 RIS. In my opinion, it was the best airsoft purchase I have ever made. I've taken it from the standard RIS platform with the PEC box and the retractable LE stock and turned it into this. This is my current field rifle and I am absolutely in love with it. Beautiful thing. Now, I got the gun stock for about $290. Then I got a coupon code on top of that, getting me 45 bucks off, so it was about $250 or so. Excellent deal right there. Now, I know most people have mixed feelings about ICS. Maybe not mixed, maybe people just hate them in general. But I love ICS, one of my favorite airsoft companies. They do have a lot of proprietary parts, a lot of things are not TM compatible. Doesn't matter. You can go to places like blazingtoys.com, get all the replacement and upgrade parts you ever want for one of these. It's not that big a deal. And a lot of parts that are TM compatible are also compatible with this gun. About half the internal parts, cylinder head, spring guide, piston head, they're all compatible with this gun. Pretty much everything in the upper half of the gearbox. Now, it is true, ICS bevel gears and pinion gears are proprietary, but you can replace the two of those for about $20 or $30. It's not that big of a deal. It's really easy. If you replace those, this gun is virtually completely TM compatible. So I don't know why people have a huge gripe about ICS. You can very easily switch out ICS proprietary parts for TM compatible parts for very little cost. Now let's go over everything I've switched out on this gun, everything I've had to do to get it pretty much TM compatible. The stock, obviously, is not TM compatible. It does not work with standard AEG stocks. These are pretty much proprietary. What I had to do was sand down the rails for the buffer tube that it fits onto. That did take some work. It took quite a while with a metal file and just the strength of my arm to get those things filed down enough so that an A&K crane stock would fit. Now, ICS guns are set up in a way that it can be wired to the back pretty easily, so that's a good thing. I'm able to fit a 9.6 volt 2300 milliamp hour crane stock style battery in this stock, and it works really well. With all my upgrades and everything, I'm able to get about 22 rounds a second on this gun with a battery. That's excellent for a field rifle. Now, obviously, I've added this dot sight. This is just a really cheap NC Star dot sight. It's only got the red reticle. Really cheap stuff. I've had it for 5 or 6 years, and it's starting to die on me. This really, right now, it's just for looks. I'm going to get a ×4 scope or something like that soon. Maybe put a dot sight on top of that little micro dot sight. Just make it look good and have it be as efficient as possible. Now, the gun originally comes with an ICS Turbo 3000 motor. At most, this will get you about 16 or 18 rounds a second, even on a LiPo battery. That's kind of limited, and they can only pull about a 140 or 150 spring. So, in that case, you're kind of limited. Plus, the pinion gear is proprietary because ICS redesigned that and their bevel gear. So that really leaves you with only a handful of options. Now, I really love the ICS gears. They're some of my favorite gears in stock guns, just in general. So what I did was I replaced the ICS bevel gear, which is proprietary, with a classic Army bevel gear, which fits really well with the ICS spur gear. I'm not getting any noise problems or any torque problems or anything. It sounded really good, seems to work really well. Now, along with the new CA bevel gear, I was able to put a Systema Magnum motor in there. Like I said, I'm getting about 20-22 rounds a second on a 9.6 battery with this thing. It's working out really well. Now, a lot of people saying, oh, you didn't do it right, you can't do that, you can't put Systema or this and that in there, it's not TM compatible. Yeah, it actually is, guys. You got to get around the idea that ICS is proprietary. These guns can be modified, like I have done, so that they are TM compatible. Now, because this gun has a split gearbox, I'm able to have 2 upper gearboxes, or 3 or 4, however many I want, but I am using 2. The stock one that I have in there is literally all stock except for an A&K piston head, which I had lying around. The only difference between that and the ICS head is that the A&K has ports, while the ICS doesn't. So they're about the same thing. A&K isn't the greatest company stock, but I didn't want to pay another 20 or 25 bucks for a piston head, so I just grabbed that out of my parts bag. So I've got an A&K piston head in there. plus a Classic Army M80 spring. So it's shooting about 280, 300 feet per second, right where I want it for CQB. So this is just excellent. I'm able to swap out my M80 spring upper gearbox for a complete ICS M130 upper gearbox. It's got like an aluminum piston head, aluminum piston bearing spring guide, 130 spring. I'm able to swap out a 280 FPS upper gearbox for a 440 FPS upper gearbox in a matter of seconds. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm sure you noticed I did replace the body pins. The stock pins just don't really work that well. They don't always fit in all the way. Plus, they have the chance of actually falling out when you're on the field. So if your pin falls out, your body is literally going to split in half, and that's just not good running around with your gun like that. So I elected to install some old Classic Army pins that I have that actually screw into place so they're not going to fall out. Now, one of the more awesome things I've done to this rifle, in my opinion, is the addition of a longer barrel. This isn't a modification at all, it's just a general upgrade. I had a spare Mad Bull 6.03 510mm barrel lying around, and I didn't have anything to do with it, so I figure I'm going to use this old Gemtech Halo suppressor that I have lying around that's collecting dust, put it on my ICS M4, throw the barrel in there, and I'm going to have some fun with the added range. Now originally I was able to hit a man-sized target pretty consistently at 200 feet with this gun. That's excellent. Not a lot of stock guns can do 200 feet. So with the addition of this barrel and with .25 gram rounds, I'm able to hit a man-sized target at about 250 feet consistently. That's really pretty cool. Not a lot of AEGs can do that. Alright, let's just put this thing to the test and see how it sounds. I've got the M80 upper gearbox in it, chronoing with .25 gram rounds. Now, let's just have some fun and check the rate of fire on this thing, see how it sounds on full auto. That sounds great on full auto to me. I'm really happy with it.
Alright, boys and girls, the moral of this story is that ICS is not a shitty brand.
They're actually pretty cool. One of my favorite brands, like I've said a million times before. Don't let anyone tell you that ICS is a terrible brand. Their parts are excellent quality and they can be modified to be TM compatible. I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo23, signing off.